Hello, this is Wmpyr here to talk about the video that I just made, which was a Heaven6 variation. Okay, so the reason why I made this video is because I saw a YouTube video earlier and there was an instructor that was teaching this move. So I saw that and I was like, oh, this is a good one to show you guys, okay? And the first time that I learned this technique, I don't even remember. It could have been from somebody, or it could have been I just discovered it on my own a long time ago. But the person that I want to give credit to is Professor Bram Frank, because on his Instagram page, you can see where he has a bunch of videos on there, and he's talking about his knives, and he's also showing this technique when he's using his knife that he designed. And also bladed weapons, longer bladed weapons. He's really big into this, where you're going 1, 2, and then number 3 is also on the same angle instead of going the backhand. And yeah, so there, my little shout out to Professor Bram Frank on that for this variation. This instructor, the video that I saw that made me go, oh, why don't I go ahead and make a video? This guy was showing this version, and I don't know what he thinks about the standard Heaven6 or whatever, but he was showing this version, and then he was showing like real life combat application, okay? And so he said, this is how you use it in a real life situation. And look, when I see, anytime I see an instructor do that on YouTube, I don't judge and dismiss the guy immediately as this guy is either realistic or unrealistic, because that's what I see a lot of people do, and that is the wrong mentality. You are judging a person so fast, and that to me tells me that you are going into that fast food culture where you want fast results, and that's not the way martial arts works. So when I look at something like this, and in this case, the way I saw him do the breakdown for real life application, I could tell that it wasn't very combat ready, okay? And that's just my opinion, but right at that point, I see that, and I don't go, oh, this guy, just because of that this guy cannot fight out of a wet paper bag, and this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. I don't go there. The reason being is because even though the technique that he showed and then the way he was doing the breakdown, I could tell that it was not combat ready yet, or far from it. To me, it is a work in progress, okay? There's levels to it. So any technique on YouTube, even the stuff that I show, right, there's levels, and this is what I'm telling you guys. It's not a fast food culture where it's either it is or it isn't. That's not the way we go, because if it's that fast where it works or it doesn't work, then usually the quality is low. So it's something that you have to get, and you have to work on, and you have to develop it level by level to make it more and more combat ready. So that takes time, okay? And then the quality becomes much better. So looking at what he was showing, I know that the quality, wasn't there, but that doesn't mean it's bad. You could develop that. I could look at that and I could start going, okay, so how would I use it for combat? How would I develop it? So I didn't really go into that because I know it's a lot of work, but yeah, that is something that you can do. So I don't look at the technique and immediately go, oh, this is bad technique, and throw it out the window. No, because once again, that technique could be developed into something really well. What he was showing, it wasn't at the level yet, but it had potential. And because it wasn't at the level yet, that doesn't mean that he's at that level. It just means that that's what he wanted to teach at the moment. He could be at a higher level. It's just that for his students, he was maybe starting off at a lower level, and then he's going to make it more realistic. That has yet to be seen. I can't judge from that video. And plus, in a real combat situation, he may not even use that technique. That may not even be his bread and butter. So I don't know. I'm not saying that just because I saw him do this technique and it wasn't very combat ready, that I could just beat his ass. That is not what I'm saying, okay? I don't know. I would have to fight him. He would have to fight me, you know, so you can't judge a person that quickly, okay? I just know that, at least from my point of view and from my experience, my training, that what he was showing and what he was explaining was still at it's not wrong, it's just at a lower combat readiness. That's all it is, okay? So I want you guys to try to have that kind of mentality. So when you look at the YouTube videos, you can see, and just because something is at a lower combat readiness, it doesn't mean that it's bad, because it's going to take you to the next level, maybe level 2, level 3, level 4, and you can't just jump to level 5 or 6 or something. You can't. That's not the way it works. And if you do that, you're going to have a crappy foundation. So just because something is not combat ready, you know, doesn't mean that it sucks. And I see so much of that on YouTube where people dismiss stuff just because it's not combat ready. They go, oh, that is crap, you know. And I want you guys to get out of that fast food mentality, okay? And if you really want something that where you don't have to put in a whole lot of thought and you could just work on it, then you're going to have to go with something like combat sports. And you're going to have to modify that for street, because those combat sports are designed for the sport. So if it's like boxing, then just work on the bag, the punching bag, but then you might have to do like Makiwara training. You condition those knuckles, do knuckle push-ups, you know, focus more on that kind of stuff to make your knuckles really strong. Or buy freaking the gloves, the extra, you know, protected gloves that even might have some weight in it and stuff like that. You know, just you're gonna have to rely on something like that, you know. But anyway, but as far as the directness of the training goes, they just work on punches all day long, and they just hit the bag all day long. And if you do that, I mean, anybody can do that, and that's a very direct way of training. And so if that's more your preference, then go ahead and do that, but don't criticize the other methods, because there are, you know, ways to go roundabout. Because if you do that, where you're training very direct, you're going to bump into other people that you can't catch up to them. You just cannot beat them, because, you know, they're just able to do more, you know. Maybe they're tougher, maybe they have more endurance, and you just cannot. So then you got to be creative. And that's why we have all these other styles. So anyway, that's it for now. Thank you for viewing, and take care, folks.